John and Sarah Thompson had built a life together in the quiet suburbs of Chicago, a life that seemed perfect from the outside. John, a successful lawyer in his early 40s, had a commanding presence and a sharp mind. Sarah, a decade younger, was a schoolteacher with a gentle demeanor and a heart full of dreams. They had met at a charity event, where Sarah's warmth and kindness had drawn John in, and their love had blossomed into a marriage that was the envy of their friends. Their blended family included Sarah's teenage son, Alex, from her previous marriage. Alex was a lanky 16-year-old with a mop of unruly brown hair and a penchant for skateboarding. He had been hesitant about the new arrangement at first, but John's steady hand and genuine care had slowly won him over. The three of them formed a tight-knit unit, sharing dinners, holidays, and the occasional family movie night. However, beneath the surface of this idyllic life, tension simmered. John's work often kept him late at the office, leaving Sarah to navigate the complexities of motherhood and step-parenting alone. Alex, in turn, struggled with the transition from a single-parent household to a blended family, feeling like an outsider in his own home. Sarah's nurturing nature made her a loving mother, but it also masked her own insecurities and fears about her place in this new family dynamic. John's relationship with Alex was a delicate balance of authority and affection. He wanted to be a father figure, but he also recognized the need to respect the boundaries of a step relationship. Their interactions were often strained, with John's attempts at guidance clashing with Alex's rebellious streak. Yet, there were moments of genuine connection, like when John taught Alex to drive or when they bonded over a shared love of classic rock music. Sarah's internal conflicts were more nuanced. She loved John deeply, but she also felt a lingering sense of guilt about her past marriage and the pain it had caused Alex. She worried that her love for John might be overshadowing her responsibilities as a mother. Her conversations with Alex were often tinged with a cautious optimism, as she tried to bridge the gap between them without alienating either of the men in her life. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the Thompson family navigated their complex web of relationships with a mixture of love, frustration, and hope. Each member of the family carried their own burdens and desires, setting the stage for the emotional journey that lay ahead. The Thompson household was a blend of routine and spontaneity. Mornings were a flurry of activity as Sarah prepared breakfast, John reviewed his briefs, and Alex rushed to catch the school bus. Evenings were more relaxed, with family dinners that often turned into lively discussions about current events or shared memories. It was during these moments that the subtle undercurrents of their relationships began to surface. John's late nights at the office became a source of tension. Sarah, feeling neglected, would often stay up waiting for him, her mind racing with thoughts of loneliness and insecurity. She would watch the clock, her heart sinking with each passing minute. When John finally arrived, their conversations were brief, often centered around work or household chores. The intimacy they once shared seemed to fade, replaced by a growing distance. Alex, sensing his mother's unease, became increasingly withdrawn. He spent more time in his room, skateboarding in the park, or hanging out with friends. The once vibrant family dynamic began to erode, with each member retreating into their own world. Sarah's attempts to bridge the gap were met with indifference, leaving her feeling helpless and isolated. One evening, as Sarah prepared dinner, she noticed a change in John's behavior. He seemed more attentive, his eyes lingering on her longer than usual. It was a small gesture, but it reignited a flicker of hope within her. She decided to take the initiative, planning a special dinner to rekindle their connection. The meal was a success, and for a brief moment, they were the couple they once were. However, the underlying issues remained unresolved. John's work continued to demand his attention, and Sarah's insecurities grew. She found herself questioning her worth, wondering if she was enough for both John and Alex. Her conversations with Alex were strained, with both of them tiptoeing around the unspoken tensions. Alex, on the other hand, was grappling with his own feelings of inadequacy. He admired John's success and strength, but he also resented the authority figure in his life. The more John tried to connect with him, the more Alex pulled away. His skateboarding became an escape, a way to channel his frustration and confusion. One afternoon, as Alex practiced his tricks in the park, he noticed a girl watching him from a distance. Her name was Emily, and she was new to the neighborhood. They struck up a conversation, and Alex found himself opening up to her in ways he hadn't with anyone else. Emily's easygoing nature and genuine interest in his passions made him feel seen and understood. As the days passed, Alex and Emily's friendship blossomed into something more. They spent hours together, talking about their dreams, fears, and the complexities of their families. For Alex, Emily became a lifeline, a source of comfort and support. However, their relationship also brought to light the deeper issues within his own family. Sarah, noticing the change in Alex, was both relieved and concerned. She was glad to see him happy, but she also worried about the implications of his newfound connection. Her conversations with John became more frequent, with both of them trying to navigate the delicate balance of their roles as parents and partners. John, sensing the strain on Sarah, made a conscious effort to be more present. He took time off work, planning family outings and activities to strengthen their bond. The family trips were a success, but the underlying tensions remained. Each member of the family was grappling with their own desires and fears, setting the stage for the emotional turmoil that lay ahead. As the Thompson family continued to navigate their complex relationships, the subtle undercurrents of forbidden attraction began to surface. John's lingering glances at Sarah, Alex's growing connection with Emily, and Sarah's internal struggles set the stage for the emotional journey that would test the very fabric of their family. The weeks turned into months, and the Thompson family's dynamics continued to evolve in unexpected ways. Sarah's efforts to reconnect with John bore fruit, but the underlying tension between her and Alex remained unresolved. One evening, as they sat down for dinner, a rare moment of vulnerability surfaced. "Alex, we need to talk," Sarah began, her voice trembling slightly. "I've noticed you've been distant lately. Is everything okay?" Alex looked up from his plate, his eyes meeting hers. "I'm fine, Mom. Just busy with school and stuff." John, sensing the tension, interjected. "Alex, your mother's just concerned about you. We all want to make sure you're okay." Alex sighed, his defenses crumbling. I feel like I don't belong here. Like I'm always the outsider." Sarah's heart ached at his words. "You're not an outsider, Alex. You're our son, and we love you." John reached out, placing a hand on Alex's shoulder. "We're a family, and families stick together. We're here for you, no matter what." The conversation marked a turning point. For the first time, the family addressed their underlying issues head-on. Sarah and John made a conscious effort to include Alex in their activities, and Alex, in turn, began to open up more. The family dinners became a safe space for honest conversations, and the bonds between them began to strengthen. However, the emotional connection between John and Alex took an unexpected turn. John's attempts to connect with Alex on a deeper level led to a series of late-night conversations. They talked about everything from music to life aspirations, and John found himself drawn to Alex's youthful energy and unfiltered honesty. The more they talked, the more John began to see Alex not just as a stepson, but as a kindred spirit. One night, as they sat in the living room, John made a bold move. "Alex, I want you to know that I admire you. You're smart, talented, and you have a bright future ahead of you." Alex looked at John, his eyes wide with surprise. "Thanks, John. That means a lot coming from you." Their conversation continued, and as the night wore on, the boundaries between them began to blur. John's lingering glances and subtle touches sent a shiver down Alex's spine, and Alex's unspoken admiration for John's strength and wisdom began to take on a new dimension. The emotional connection between them intensified, setting the stage for the forbidden attraction that would soon unravel their lives. The emotional tension within the Thompson household reached a boiling point as the forbidden attraction between John and Alex became increasingly difficult to ignore. John's lingering glances and subtle touches had not gone unnoticed by Sarah, who began to sense a shift in the dynamics of her family. Her internal struggles intensified, as she grappled with the fear of losing both her husband and her son to an unspoken bond. One evening, as Sarah prepared dinner, she overheard a conversation between John and Alex that sent a chill down her spine. They were talking about a recent family trip, but the tone of their voices and the way they looked at each other made Sarah's heart race. She tried to shake off the unease, but the feeling lingered, gnawing at her peace of mind. The next day, Sarah decided to confront John. "John, we need to talk," she said, her voice steady but firm. "I've noticed something's been off between you and Alex." "What's going on?" John looked at her, his expression unreadable. "Sarah, there's nothing going on. Alex and I are just trying to connect on a deeper level." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "It doesn't feel like just a father-son connection, John. It feels different." John sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Sarah, you're overreacting. Alex is just going through a tough phase, and I'm trying to be there for him." But Sarah wasn't convinced. The unease in her gut grew stronger, and she decided to keep a closer eye on their interactions. Her suspicions were confirmed one night when she walked in on John and Alex in a heated discussion in the living room. The intensity of their conversation and the way they looked at each other made Sarah's blood run cold. Meanwhile, Alex's internal struggles intensified. The emotional connection he shared with John was both exhilarating and terrifying. He admired John's strength and wisdom, but he also feared the consequences of their forbidden attraction. His conversations with Emily became a source of comfort, but they also brought to light the deeper issues within his family. One afternoon, as Alex and Emily sat in the park, he confided in her. "Emily, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm losing control of everything." Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with concern. "Alex, you need to talk to someone. This isn't something you can handle on your own." But Alex was too afraid to confront the truth. The emotional turmoil within him grew stronger, and he found himself increasingly drawn to John. The forbidden attraction between them became an unspoken bond, a secret that threatened to tear their family apart. As the days passed, the tension within the Thompson household reached a breaking point. Sarah's suspicions grew, and she began to fear the worst. Her conversations with John became more strained, and she found herself increasingly isolated. The emotional turmoil within her family set the stage for the devastating consequences that lay ahead. The tension within the Thompson household reached a breaking point one fateful evening. Sarah, unable to bear the weight of her suspicions any longer, decided to confront John and Alex. She had overheard a conversation that made her blood run cold, and she knew she couldn't ignore it any longer. "John, Alex, we need to talk," Sarah said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I know something's been going on between you two. I can't keep pretending everything's fine." John and Alex exchanged a glance, their faces pale. "Sarah, please, it's not what you think," John began, but Sarah cut him off. "I've seen the way you look at each other. The way you touch. It's not normal, John. It's not right." Alex's eyes filled with tears. "Mom, please, don't do this. We didn't mean for it to happen." Sarah's heart shattered at his words. "You didn't mean for it to happen. You didn't mean to betray me. To betray this family." John stepped forward, his voice pleading. "Sarah, it's not what you think. We were just trying to connect on a deeper level. We never meant to hurt you." But Sarah's anger and pain were too great. "You've destroyed everything, John. Everything we built together. How could you do this to me?" To Alex. The room fell silent, the weight of their words hanging heavy in the air. Sarah's heart ached with betrayal, and she felt a deep sense of loss. The family she had worked so hard to build was crumbling before her eyes. John's voice was barely a whisper. "Sarah, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen. I love you, and I love Alex. But I don't know how to fix this." Alex looked at his mother, his eyes filled with regret. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I just..." I don't know what to do. Sarah's tears flowed freely, her heart breaking into a million pieces. I don't know how to move forward from this. I don't know if I can ever trust either of you again. The emotional turmoil within the Thompson household reached its peak, setting the stage for the devastating consequences that lay ahead. The unspoken bond between John and Alex had torn their family apart, and the road to healing seemed impossible. The aftermath of the confrontation was a whirlwind of emotions. Sarah, devastated by the betrayal, found herself unable to look at John or Alex without feeling a deep sense of pain. The family dynamic that had once been a source of comfort was now a constant reminder of their broken trust. John, racked with guilt, tried to make amends. He spent hours talking to Sarah, apologizing for his actions and promising to do whatever it took to repair their relationship. But the damage was done, and Sarah's heart remained guarded. She couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal, and the thought of forgiving John seemed impossible. Alex, on the other hand, was consumed by guilt and regret. He had never intended to hurt his mother, but his actions had caused irreparable damage. He spent his days in a fog of confusion, his mind racing with thoughts of what could have been. The emotional connection he shared with John had been both exhilarating and terrifying, and he now faced the consequences of his choices. One evening, as Sarah sat alone in the living room, she received a call from Emily. "Sarah, I need to talk to you. It's about Alex." Sarah's heart raced. "What's going on, Emily?" "Alex is in trouble. He's been acting out, and I'm worried about him. He needs help, Sarah." Sarah's heart ached at Emily's words. She knew she had to do something to help her son, but the thought of facing him filled her with dread. She took a deep breath and decided to confront Alex. "Alex, we need to talk," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "Emily told me you're in trouble. What's going on?" Alex looked at his mother, his eyes filled with tears. "Mom, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to fix this. I can't handle it anymore." Sarah's heart broke at his words. "Alex, you don't have to go through this alone. We'll get through this together. But you need to talk to someone. You need help." Alex nodded, his voice barely a whisper. "I know, Mom. I don't know where to start." Sarah reached out, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We'll start by talking to a therapist. We'll get through this, Alex. I promise." The road to healing was long and painful. Sarah, John, and Alex each faced their own demons, struggling to come to terms with the consequences of their actions. The emotional turmoil within the Thompson household continued to weigh heavily on them, but they knew they had to find a way to move forward. As the days turned into weeks, the family began to slowly rebuild their relationships. Sarah and John attended couples therapy, working through their issues and trying to rekindle the love they once shared. Alex sought help from a therapist, opening up about his feelings and working through his guilt and regret. The journey was far from easy, but the Thompson family found strength in each other. They learned to communicate openly and honestly, addressing their fears and insecurities head-on. The emotional scars remained, but they began to see a glimmer of hope for the future. The Thompson family's journey towards healing was a long and arduous one, but they eventually found a semblance of peace. Sarah and John's relationship, though forever changed, began to rebuild on a foundation of honesty and trust. They attended regular therapy sessions, working through their issues and rediscovering the love that had once brought them together. Alex, too, made significant progress. With the help of his therapist, he began to understand and process his emotions. The guilt and regret that had once consumed him slowly began to fade, replaced by a sense of acceptance and growth. He found solace in his friendships, particularly with Emily, who stood by him through the toughest times. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, they shared a moment of quiet reflection. Sarah looked around the table, her heart filled with gratitude. "I never thought we'd get through this, but here we are. We've come a long way." John nodded, his eyes filled with emotion. "We've faced some dark times, but we've also found our way back to each other." That's something to be grateful for. Alex smiled, his gaze shifting between his parents. I'm just glad we're all together. The room fell silent for a moment, each member of the family lost in their own thoughts. The journey had been painful, filled with revelations and betrayals, but it had also brought them closer together in unexpected ways. They had learned valuable lessons about love, forgiveness, and the importance of open communication. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the Thompson family continued to heal. Sarah and John's relationship grew stronger, built on a renewed sense of trust and commitment. They learned to navigate the complexities of a blended family with grace and understanding, always mindful of the delicate balance required to maintain harmony. Alex, finding his footing, began to thrive. He threw himself into his studies and extracurricular activities, his confidence growing with each passing day. The bonds he shared with his parents deepened, and he found a sense of belonging that had eluded him for so long. The holidays brought a renewed sense of joy and togetherness. The Thompson household was filled with laughter, love, and the warmth of family. They celebrated Christmas with a tree adorned with ornaments that held special memories, and each member of the family felt a sense of fulfillment. One evening, as they sat around the fireplace, Sarah looked at John and Alex, her heart swelling with pride. We've been through so much, but we've come out stronger on the other side. This family is my greatest accomplishment. John reached out, taking her hand in his. And it's mine too. We've faced our demons, and we've come together as a family. That's something no one can take away from us. Alex nodded, his eyes shining with emotion. I couldn't have asked for a better family. I love you both more than words can say. The flames crackled in the fireplace, casting a warm glow over the room. The Thompson family had found their way back to each other, and despite the challenges they had faced, they emerged stronger and more united than ever. The lessons they had learned were hard-won, but they had learned to cherish the love and support that bound them together. As the years passed, the Thompson family continued to grow and evolve. They faced new challenges and celebrated new milestones, always drawing strength from the bonds they had forged. The journey had been long and painful, but it had also been a journey of love, forgiveness, and redemption. In the end, the Thompson family found peace and contentment. They had learned to navigate the complexities of their relationships with grace and understanding, always mindful of the importance of open communication and love. The emotional scars remained, but they had found a way to live with them, turning the pain of the past into a source of strength for the future. The Thompson family's story was one of triumph over tragedy, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds. They had faced their darkest days, but they had come out stronger on the other side, ready to embrace whatever the future held.